Ashley, welcome to the podcast and congratulations on a whirlwind of a few weeks.
It has been, but I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for being flexible in your schedule to work around my crazy life so that we can make this happen.
I love this because for people who don't know, you are coming off of 2 marathons in a week. You ran Boston, then you flew over to London and you ran that. So how are you feeling right now?
I am feeling maybe a little bit of that jet lag is now turned into just like crazy excitement and happiness to be home for a second. And, my body feels great, but I definitely, there's some jet lag happening right now. That's for sure.
It's not easy. It's not easy to travel and run a marathon and then kind of, doing one after the other. And it's different, right? It's different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because everyone that travels, they know that your legs just get that extra like heaviness feeling. They might swell up a little bit, and then to go run a marathon or, people going out to work or whatever, being at expos, and it takes a toll on your body to travel. So hats off to those that travel all the time for their job, because it's not easy on anything.
Absolutely. And so you are no stranger to racing. You are no stranger to the long distances. And you've run ultras, you've done ultra tris, you've done Ironmans, you've done 100 milers, you're gearing up for a 200 miler. I mean, there is so much that you have accomplished. But I want to kind of go back to where you found the love of running and why long distance was so appealing to you.
Okay. Oh gosh, we're going to go back a lot of years then. I might only be 21, but okay, 21 times.
Which is still remarkable, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you. I know I have no shame in my age. I joke about it. I joke. I'm proud to be 42 years old and happy that my body is allowing me to do what I love, and staying injury free. So my running, gosh, it went back to when I was a kid. I would watch my dad run. No matter what the weather, no matter what, he was up at 5 a.m. in a blizzard or rain or heat, whatever it is, and he would get his daily 5-miler in. And then on the weekends, he would do his long runs. And I just remember him being like, gosh, that dedication, gosh, like, does not look fun. And then I remember watching him do his first marathon. I was almost 7 years old. It was July 24th. I still remember the day because it was like they still had that marathon on that day, July 24th. So I was about to turn 7, and I'm looking out the window at my dad at like mile 18 or 19, and he looked miserable. Like, he looked like he was having the worst time of his life, and we're cheering for him, and he just kind of scowls at us. We race differently, that's for sure.
And the smile on the whole time.
I know. Well, he learned now that the smile does help you run faster. But at the time, and the seed was planted. The seed was planted that I was like, why did he decide to do this? Like, he chose to do this. And then like, why do I want to do this one day? And it stuck with me. And so I ran my first marathon when I was 19 years old. So quite a few years later, but still had that in my heart from my dad. And I fell in love with the distance. Like, I had done a few 5Ks and 10Ks when I was little, but never anything in my teenage years as in the, like, I didn't do high school track or whatever. And I would just kind of run to stay in shape. And yeah, I did my first marathon at 19 and just was like in love. And I'm like, this is what I want to continue to do. I shortly after got married and then had my babies. And so I didn't run again for another 2 years, but it stuck with me, that feeling, that love, the energy, the people. I ran it with my sister. So just the memory with her, being able to cross that finish line with her. And so, yeah, that's where it all started with my dad.
I love that. And I love that there's kind of that example that you have and you can look up to, and to bring you back in moments, I'm sure, of struggle, to look back and be like, this is why I'm doing this. And I think there's often two parts when it comes to racing, right? There's the training, there's the weeks and months leading up to it. And then there's the day. Do you have a preference, or are you partial towards the training or a race day?
Oh man, I love race day so much. And that's probably why I race as many as I do, because so now I'm able to bring in my racing as part of my training. And just because it's just the energy, you can't match that. And so I will bring in races as much as I can. But actually racing it, those are the really nerve-wracking days. But I still love that feeling of like, hey, I'm going to be pushing myself to these limits. I've worked hard for it. It's go time. So there's different days that I'm like just training and other days that I'm like racing. And I love all those feelings. It's the combination that keeps me coming back. The fear, the excitement, the energy, and it just keeps building. And you'd think after this many years and this many races, I'd kind of be getting sick of it, right? That's what if you're like, you're gonna wear out, you're gonna burn out, you're gonna. And guess what? I'm just falling more and more in love with it. So
That's
maybe I like to
amazing.
prove people wrong. I don't know.
That's amazing to hear, though, when you find something that you're so passionate about and are able to keep pursuing, it's really, that it's a genuine love of it. And there's so many things that I want to double tap into that you just mentioned. But first, there is that you're using a lot of these races as training runs. And that is because you are running these ultras, you are running longer races. So when did you make the shift from the 26.2 to the longer distances?
I made that shift. Actually, my dad made that shift for me.
It's all coming back. It's all
It is my dad. I tell you what, good thing I love him so much. He actually signed me up for my first Ironman without he's just like, guess what? He's like, I just know you're built for it. You're going to get to Kona. You're going to be, and I'm like, Dad, you realize there's training that goes into this. He's, you're in great shape. And I had only done a half Ironman up to that point. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got 2 months to do an Ironman. Dad,
challenge accepted. He knows
exactly. But I was so scared. But that's why we do it. And he knows I thrive off of that. So in 2010, went and did my first Ironman distance triathlon. And I had the worst day, like a really bad day. I was definitely not trained, had no idea what I was doing. Not that I do now. I just fake it, So I know a few different tweaks now. Hopefully I've learned a few things over the years, but I was throwing up. I was like delirious and, puking on the curb in my neighborhoods. It was in St. George, and humiliated. And here I was, this fitness instructor for St. George at every gym, so all of the people out there, if they worked out, they knew me. And I'm just puking on the sidelines. And I'm like, oh, but I still was like, I'd get up and be like, let's go. Throw up and let's go. And I just knew that I had more. I knew I could do more if I just educated myself and trained for it. And so I did. I dove in, and then the next year did another one. And then the next year, another one, same course, same Ironman. But I wasn't able to do more than one a year. They're really pricey. And at the time, my husband was starting a new business, fresh out of, getting his master's. I was not in a place to be able to just go throw down $1,000 for a race and all the training. So I wasn't able to race as much as I wanted to, but it made me really appreciate it and appreciate where I am now, that I am able to just jump into pretty much whatever and whenever and go and just do what I love and be able to hopefully share that with other people out there on the course.
You definitely share it. I mean, the joy that you bring when you're racing, seeing photos and videos and things like that is almost tangible, right? You can feel it. And then, with that, and you mentioned kind of the tries there, the marathon, and then the ultras, and it feels like you're just always chasing something new and challenging yourself. How do you mentally stay locked in to tackle all of these different things?
I just love the challenge and the change. Of course, it all comes back to doing the sport that I love, swimming, biking, or running. But I'm like, oh, maybe I can go a little bit longer, or maybe I can go a little bit faster. It's always that what ifs. I live by I don't want to go by what if I could have. It's well, at least I tried. I don't want those what ifs lingering over me when I'm older, looking back at my life. I want to be like, I tried, I did it, and maybe I failed at this or that, but at least I tried. And so if I find out there's a longer distance, I'm going to jump into it and try it. I didn't know there was any such thing as an ultra triathlon. And we were actually living in an RV at the time. and this was 2016 or 17. And we were on our way to Oregon. I was like, oh, I feel like doing a race this weekend. I've been off in the backpacking with my girls, and I'm looking to see if there's any races happening there that weekend. And there happened to be a double Ironman, like twice the distance. So
Wow.
there was no training going into like just
Mhm.
my base, you know? And I'm like, there's double the Ironman. And I tell my husband, he's like,
Yeah. What have we gotten ourselves into?
deep breath. And it was only like 20 minutes away from where we were staying. I'm like, it's meant to be. I need to try this. And I did it. And I ended up like winning. And I was like blown away. And it was one of those things that I'm like, this just keeps getting better. This sport does not get old if you keep it interesting. And I like to just, try those different distances and to keep it exciting and to keep that challenge in my that mental play game in my head, just to be like, all right, maybe I can do this. Other people can, so why not me?
Why not me? What a fun mentality to live by and kind of to challenge yourself and be okay with, maybe not meeting the goal the first time and doing it again. And you mentioned your husband there and you mentioned running with your sister and your dad. And I think when people think of running, sometimes they can think it's a very isolated sport. And in some ways it is, right? But there is a community that in the sport, in tries, in training, all of these things. What have you found the community to be like for you in this space?
The community is just so encouraging, so excited for you when you do succeed, or if you fall short of your goal, they're there for you and be like, they get it. They've been there. They've had their bad days, their bad races, their hard training days. And so when we can like hear each other's stories and be like, I'm not alone here. This feeling is normal, to feel this little burnout or to feel, I don't want to do this hard training weekend. But you put yourself out there so that you have people to hold you accountable. Be like, how was that long training day? And they're going to ask, because they will, because they care. And so you go get it done despite how you're feeling sometimes.
Mhm.
Because I'll be honest, it's not every day that I'm like, let's go get it done. There are plenty of days that it is straight up just because I know what my goals are, my long-term goals. And so I get myself out there for a long training day. But having that community, and especially for me, I feel so blessed to have the support of my family, not just my kids, but like my husband is there by my side. Like so many of my events, it is not just me out there doing this alone. It's him making sure I have all of my calories, making sure like he's counting my calories. I'm not. He's
Yeah.
making sure that I'm up on my electrolytes and switching my shoes when I need to, because he just knows how I tick and what I need at certain times. He knows when to like give me the exciting words and to be funny, or when to be serious and be like, you know what, you're doing okay. And that
Yeah.
calmer voice. Or hard love, like
Yeah.
you got to dig now. Now it's time to go and push me. And so it's so nice to have that. Not everyone has that. I feel very blessed and fortunate that he's excited
Yeah.
for me to go after these goals. It's a lot on him, that's for sure. It's not like he's excited sometimes to be like, okay, my full
Yeah.
weekend of being up all night with you. But he is in his way, but it's hard
Yeah.
too. So I feel very fortunate to have that, and to be able to have such an amazing community that they just want to see you succeed. And so, and that's what it's about,
Yeah.
cheering each other on.
It's absolutely about that. And when you're talking about, calories and hydration and electrolytes and all of those things for the ultras, for people who don't know, like the ultras, like you couldn't go out there by yourself and do it. You need a crew that's there because you're not out there for 4 hours. You're out there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
How did you, when you first started doing that, how did you piece together the puzzle for what you needed to finish the ultras?
My very first one was that double Ironman, and that
Mhm.
one you are actually not allowed to have pacers or anything like that. You can have a crew, but since mine was so last minute and you do a lot of loops, I did it on my own.
Wow.
Um, because my husband already had plans, and I was like, this is just something so last minute.
I
And
love how you say that so nonchalantly. My husband had plans and this was last minute to just run 2 Ironmans in a day.
he did. We had sister plans with his sister, and I'm not going to break that. And I'm like, I've got my own challenges ahead. So it
I
was
love that.
really, it was different to be like,
Yeah.
wow, I've got to make sure. And the race director, he was amazing because he's like, nobody comes out here unsupported. And so he kind of helped me in different things. Like, he's like, what do you feel like? I'm like, oh my gosh, a grilled cheese sounds so amazing. He went into town, got me a grilled cheese. I'm like, well, you do need people for this. And so my first one, I didn't. And it was an eye opener of like, oh man, this is bigger than I thought. And so
Mhm.
when I did build that crew, the next time I went out and did an ultras, you can have a crew and you can have pacers and stuff. It was so much fun. It was like, oh my gosh, my people are around me the whole time. And Badwater, it's one that I've done a couple times. And that one they're actually leapfrogging you. So they're not just there with you like here and there. They are required to be within 4 miles of you.
Oh,
So
wow.
they are not getting any sleep either. They are dealing with the heat just as much as I am. So they're going through a lot more than I am, I feel. I
Mhm.
just have to just keep moving one foot in front of the other. And they're like, how's she doing? How's she, and every 2 miles stopping to make sure that I'm on top of my fluids and staying cool because it's about 120, 130 degrees outside at that time. So you can't do this stuff without a crew. You can't do it without that support. And so find those people. And if you don't have them in your life, like your family, there's definitely areas that you can go onto, like Facebook, the iFit community, whatever it is. There's
Yeah.
people that are willing to go out there and be your support, your crew, and you'll become best friends. You can't help
It's
it.
like it's like the special kind of crazy that bonds everyone together. And it's so true. Like and I'm sure you experience this, but it's like you have your friends and then you have your runner friends. And when you say you have your runner friends, you just know that's different. Like you just
It
know.
is. I mean, we have different conversations, different conversations. If you
Yep.
had them with like, other people, they'd be like, you guys talk about that stuff just like nonchalant. I'm like, yeah, you have to.
Just kind of comes up. You also mentioned your kids. You're a mom of four, and it seems like that's such an important part of your life. How has being a mom helped you as an athlete and vice versa? How has being an athlete helped you parent your kids?
Well, I mean, just knowing that they're so excited to see me succeed as well is always, that's an obvious. But being a mom is it's the best thing. There's no finish line quite like that. And they've helped me in so many ways, teach me that I can get through these hard times.
Mhm.
And the confidence that I get with what I do, and to be able to share that with them in harder times, relating. There's so many ways you can relate life to running in your hard times. There's the highs and the lows in racing. You're gonna hit those lows. They are bound to happen, but you don't know if it's this corner or maybe the next that there's going to be that high and you're going to get that runner's high. And so when I talk to my kids about their hard times that they're going through, I've got, twins that are 22 now going through the whole dating, and a teenage daughter, and then a 9-year-old son. And so I'm in completely different phases of all their lives, but we can always relate it back to fitness somehow.
Yeah.
Like when I've had people come at me and just like throwing darts and throwing mud on my name, and just for no reason sometimes. And for my kids to see me struggle, not just physically, but emotionally with that. And then to see me go back and still go and toe the line again, despite what people are saying. They've talked to me about, like, it's such an example to them that, like, you do your passion, you fight for what you want despite what other people are going to think, because you're going to have those people that
Mhm.
are mean in life. You're going to have those people that aren't cheering you on and don't want you succeeding because they're not in their own way. And
Right.
so for my kids to actually see me, like, literally like crying in the corner sometimes because of what has been said, and then to get back up, stand up and be like, that happens. And yeah, it's not fun, but we get out there and we toe that line again. And so for them, I hope that's been a great example, that you just, whatever thing comes in their life, that's bringing them down or hard, or kids making fun, or just hard times in high school, whatever, because life is crazy for those teenagers,
Mhm.
that they're just like, hey, it's okay. I don't need everybody in my corner. I don't need
Yeah.
everybody to love me. I just need these people to let me,
Yeah.
and they have that support, and I know I have that support. And so that's been my biggest thing, is still showing up for you.
Mhm.
Forget about what other people are saying, because it's been 10 years of some people just continuing on, like trying to throw my name in the mud. And they see that, and I don't want to hide that from them. I don't want them to not see that part of life, because it's going to happen to them too. Maybe
The
not in my
realness.
way, but
Yeah.
in their own way. It's going to happen in one way or another. And so I want them to know that their mom's gone through hard times, and that she gets back up. And so sometimes, even if you don't want to, you do it for the kids. And I want never want to look back and be like, oh, I should have maybe stood up for myself a little differently,
Mhm.
because my kids are watching. They're watching everything that happens, and don't hide those hard times. I don't think you should. I think they need to be out there and open, and so that it's not like, oh, it's just happening to me. It's, when they go through their hard times. So yeah, that got a little bit serious there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but it's the connection and vulnerability, right? And that's where relationships are built. Um that's where you build character, and that's where you kind of like build the building blocks, for lack of better terms, right,
There
into
you
who
go.
you want to be. And I'm curious now, you're an iFit trainer, you have an app, you have training programs, you are coaching so many people in this space. What's your biggest goal when you have someone come to you saying, I want to accomplish X, or I am trying to do Y? What is your biggest goal with a client?
I want them to feel excited about it. I want them to feel a little bit, just even a little fraction of what I feel
Mm,
when I'm out there, because I know if they can get that, they're going to be hooked.
yeah.
Just even that little small fraction, because it's such a passion of mine, and it's literally like saved my life from mentally, like going through some depression and all of that stuff, that I know it could help others, and not just for that scale. I want people to just forget about that, but what they can do. I want them to look at their body and be like, it's incredible, and be able to
Yeah.
be like, what I've built right here, I can go attack that mountain. I can go chase after my kids. I can like be able to go play with my grandkids. I can move and feel good, and not have this, you have a different sense of worth when you're able to do what your body is meant to do. And
Yeah.
when we actually like act on it, because we're
Mhm.
supposed to move, we're supposed to be happy. And this, all the endorphins that I get, how could you not be happy?
Mhm.
So I want them just to feel that little sense of joy, and that self-worth in their way, whatever that goal is. And I don't care if it's getting through that first time running 10 minutes, or if I'm training you for an ultra triathlon. I've got everybody on every scale. It's not
Yeah.
like I'm exclusive. I want everyone to feel this way,
Mhm.
because I know if I could share that a little bit, they're going to share it a little bit more. And
Yep.
it's just going to be that ripple effect.
Yeah.
And that's what this world needs. We need more happiness, more joy, and moving is just going to give us that light.
I love that. So you've accomplished so much, and we've only just scratched the surface, but is there anything on your bucket list?
Yes, I'm checking it off this year. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be able to go to every single continent this year in 7 days, and do a marathon on each continent
You're
in
doing the challenge?
Yes, I've wanted to do this like forever. I've got chills just thinking about it.
Oh my gosh.
So that is happening this year, the end of the year, and it doesn't feel real. I'm like still
Oh
pinching
my,
myself. Am I doing this? Um, so
wow.
yeah, that's happening this year, and then also just I want to be able to share this with my kids. I was able to run a marathon with one of my daughters, but there's the other kids that I want to share a marathon with, because that was a really special day.
Mhm.
Um, I want to be able to do it with them, and so stay injury free for a lot of years, so that I could do this not just for now, but forever
Yeah.
with my kiddos. So
Wow. I'm so excited for you. That is, I mean, running with your kids, incredible. Doing the 7 marathon, 7 days, 7 continents is very few people can say they've ever attempted that. And so I'm excited for you to to take that on. Is there a continent you're most excited for?
Probably South Africa. That's probably the warmest. So that's the second
And
marathon.
you thrive in heat, right? It
I
sounds like,
love the
yeah.
yes, I love the heat. Um, yeah, but then Australia. I've never been to Australia. So I just want them all because even there's something appealing about the cold of Antarctica,
Yeah.
of doing a marathon on Antarctica, even though I'm not a cold person, but I'm like, I get to go run a freaking marathon on Antarctica. That's race number
Yeah.
one. So let's get it done and then go right to the heat. So
Yes.
yeah, that's hard to like pick one, but probably Africa or Australia.
Okay. That's
That's hard.
incredible. That's incredible. Well, I'm curious. I ask everyone this question. If there's a mantra that you lean on hard days of running, of training, of working, of parenting, of life that you lean on to help get you through.
It's silly, 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 but roll with the punches with a smile.
Mm-hmm.
Life is going to come at you. It's not always going to be easy, and you just got to let it roll off and smile through it because it's not easy for anybody. It's not
Yeah.
just you getting picked on, but yeah, just roll with the punches with a smile on your face because why not?
I love it. I love it. And if people are not following you on social media, I highly advise that they do because that's what you're putting out into the world. I feel like with all of your posts and your content and is just to do it with a smile, just to do it with joy. So thank you for taking the time for this conversation. I know that you're off to travel with family and a much hopefully deserved break.
Yes, it's my daughter's baby moon. So I'm going to be a grandma next in June.
Oh
So
my
we're taking her
gosh.
to Hawaii for a little
That's
baby
amazing.
moon.
Well, enjoy it. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you so much. That was a pleasure.